Hello and welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn to avoid some important mistakes, so let's get started. First, this is not correct.
But then I rewatched the second time to brush it up in my mind, to review, to remember.
To brush it up in my mind? We don't say this. Brush it up in my mind. You can say brush up on something. To study again, you can rewatch something to brush up on your English. But not brush it up in my mind. You brush up on something. Example, she's studying. She has a test tomorrow and she needs to brush up on her English. Let's practice. She's having a test tomorrow. Does she need to brush up on her English? That's right, she needs to brush up on her English. This is also not correct.
So, about the course. Here you have a great list of advanced vocabulary. With explanation, you can listen to the words and phrases.
I cannot say you have a great list of advanced vocabulary with explanation. Explanation is a countable noun, so I need an S. With explanations. Not with explanation, but with explanations. Or I can say with an, if it's one, with an explanation. So I need the article an, or I need to put an S at the end of the word. So it's correct to say you have a great list of advanced vocabulary with explanations. Example, with her program, you have a great list of advanced vocabulary with explanations. Let's practice. With her program, do you have a great list of advanced vocabulary with explanations? That's right, you have a great list of advanced vocabulary with explanations. This is also not correct.
And of course, we don't forget about grammar, as it is very important.
So the sale will finish soon.
I cannot say the sale will finish soon. I cannot use finish in this case. I have to use the verb end. The sale will end soon. Talking about events like a sale, we have to use the verb end. Finish is for people. I finished my work. And end is for things. The sale will end soon. Let's practice. Will the sale end soon? That's right, the sale will end soon. So keep watching to practice with the difference between finish and end, and other confusing vocabulary. First, this is not correct.
So basically, you just need to slow down during this area.
I cannot say you need to slow down during this area. The word during is used for time. Example, during the holidays, during the class. But we cannot say during this area. We say in this area. So it's correct to say you need to slow down in this area. Remember, slow down, the phrasal verb. In this case, slow is a verb, not an adjective. So you need to drive slower. We say you need to slow down. It's correct to say you need to slow down in this area, not during this area. Let's practice. Do you need to slow down in this area? That's right, you need to slow down in this area. Don't say during this area. This is also not correct.
And how do you know when the construction work is over?
I cannot say how do you know when the construction work is over. When I use over, I talk about things like events. For example, the party is over, or the movie is over, the game is over. But I cannot say when the construction work is over. I say when the construction work ends. I use the verb end in this case. I cannot use over. So the question, how do you know when the construction work ends? You know because you see the sign. The construction work ends. So the question, how do you know when the construction work ends? And the answer, you know because you see this sign. Let's practice. Ask me the question. I know the construction work ends because I see the sign. That's how I know. That's how I know the construction work ends. Or you can say, that's how I know that I'm past the construction area. But I cannot say the construction work is over. Keep watching until the end of this video to practice with the difference between finish, end, and over. They're all a little different. This is also not correct.
Because I know in Latin America, it's called a different name.
I cannot say it's called a different name. If I use the word name, I cannot use the verb called. I cannot say it's called this name or it's called that name. I use the verb have or has. I can say it has a different name. Or I can say it's called something different, or it's called something else. But I cannot say it's called a different name. This is wrong. Example, this is a sofa, but it has a different name. It's also called a couch. It can be called something else because it has a different name. Let's practice. This is a sofa. Does it have a different name? That's right, it has a different name. What else is it called? That's right, it's also called a couch. It can be called something else. But I cannot say it's called a different name. This is incorrect. Also, we don't say this.
This is my helmet and it's a pink helmet. So I'm going to put it on my head and strap it under my chin because safety's first.
We don't say safety's first. Safety is first. With the contraction safety's first, we don't say this. We have an expression. We say safety first. We don't use is. We don't use the contraction safety's. We just say safety first. It's an expression. Grammatically, safety is first follows the rules, but we don't say it. We say safety first. So example, he's going to drive his car, but he didn't put on his seatbelt. So what do you say? You say, hey, safety first. Put on your seatbelt. Let's practice. He's going to drive his car, but he's not wearing his seatbelt. What do you say? That's right. You say safety first. Put on your seatbelt. This is also not correct.
You cannot do that because this street is a one-way. So follow the arrow. It's pointed that way, and that means it's a one-way.
I cannot say this is a one-way. If I use the article a, I need a noun. So I say street. This is a one-way street. I cannot say this is a one-way. It's correct to say this is a one-way street. Let's practice. Is this a one-way street? That's right, this is a one-way street. This is also not correct.
So if you're a car and you're driving this way,
I cannot say if you're a car and you're driving this way. If you're a car, I'm not a car. We need a preposition in. If you're in a car and you're driving this way, this is correct. But I cannot say if you're a car. If you're in a car and you're driving this way, this is also not correct.
a roundabout is a sign with arrows that will show you the motion of traffic.
A roundabout is a sign with arrows that will show you the motion of traffic. A roundabout is a sign. A roundabout is not a sign. A roundabout is a roundabout. A roundabout is a circular road. It's not a sign. It will not show you anything. It's just a circular road. This is a roundabout. A roundabout is a circular road, not a sign. A roundabout sign is a sign, and a sign will show you the motion of traffic, but not the roundabout. It's just a road. So this is a roundabout. If I were to describe it, I would say it's a circular road. Let's practice. This is a roundabout. How would you describe it? That's right. I would describe it as a circular road. This is also not correct.
In this city where I am, you can rent out electric bikes or scooters.
I cannot say you can rent out bikes or scooters. So let's look at the difference. The difference between the phrasal verb rent out and the verb rent, because they are different. We use the phrasal verb rent out when you're the person that is charging money to use it. For example, I have a house and I'm going to rent out my house. That means somebody's going to live in my house and they're going to pay me. I'm going to rent out my house. What about rent? Well, the person that lives there and pays me, they are going to rent the house. The person is the renter, and they rent the house from me. I am the owner, so I rent out the house. So I cannot say you can rent out electric bikes or scooters, because you're not charging money, you're paying money. You're the renter, so we use the verb rent. It's correct to say you can rent electric bikes or scooters. So who rents out bikes or scooters? The owner, the person that owns the business. They own the bikes, they own the scooters, they charge money, they rent out bikes and scooters to people, to their customers. So let's practice with both. Can you rent electric bikes and scooters? That's right, you can rent electric bikes or scooters, not rent out, because you're the renter, you're paying. I talk about the company, I say they. They rent out electric bikes and scooters to their customers. Let's practice. Do they rent out electric bikes and scooters? That's right, they rent out electric bikes and scooters. They're charging money for people to use them. That's rent out. So keep watching to practice with the differences between finish, end, and over. They're all a little different. Today we're learning some important vocabulary, so let's get started. First, it's not correct to say this.
So, and when my surgery finished, I fainted for like 30 seconds.
That's right, we cannot say, when my surgery finished, I fainted. Finish is an action for a person. Example, I finished my job. I finished all my work. But if I talk about things like surgery, or a meeting, or a movie, or a game, we don't use finished. I cannot say the game finished. I say the game ended, or the game is over. When talking about things like events, things that have a beginning, a middle, and an end, we don't use finish. We use end or to be over. Example, when the surgery was over, I fainted. Or you can say, when the surgery ended, I fainted, but not finished. Let's practice. Is the surgery over? That's right, the surgery is not over yet. They're still operating. Let's practice. Is the game over? That's right, the game is over. Is the meeting over? That's right, the meeting is not over yet. They're still talking. Is the movie over? That's right, the movie is over. So remember, use finish for a person. I finish, you finish, they finish. But for things that have a beginning, middle, and an end, like events, use end or to be over. Thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.